Welcome back to the channel, Barbarians. Thanks for tuning in. Toilet here, and today I want to look at the last week of Season 19 and what you should be doing. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. This week we have Wendigo, which is an old but faithful, very faithful grenade launcher. This brings us back a couple years, actually, to when this thing was back in the meta. And it was a fantastic grenade launcher, legendary, that ran in the heavy slot. And it's back this week as the Adept version is available for farming the Warden of Nothing Nightfall, which we'll get into some tips and tricks on that. And why you should get this grenade launcher, because this is the best in-slot grenade launcher going into Lightfall. Make sure to drop a like on the video if you do find it enjoyable. And let's go ahead and take a look at the best roll I have so far. Alright, so I just did my last run. Okay. Decent. Linear compensator, smart drift control, spike grenades, auto loader, field prep, and full court. So, this to me is really good. You know, full court provides up to 25% damage increase if the grenade travels for 1.1 seconds. However, exploding light is really the best perk in that second slot, or the fourth slot I should say. There really isn't another way around it, so you do want to go for that. And the masterwork for reload, again with things like auto loading and field prep, it could be better. I would prefer probably velocity in that column there, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So for this this Nightfall Warden of Nothing, it's actually one of the quicker ones you can farm. I would put it up there with the Insight Terminus in terms of Grandmasters that you can easily defeat with a random fire team as well. It's not very complicated. I would say this part right here with capturing, you know, the 3 different rounds is the most difficult part, but certainly not difficult by any real means. So Wendigo, anyways, the Wendigo grenade launcher being a legendary, let's go ahead and talk about some of the perks it has. So pretty standard perks here: blast radius 50, velocity 29, it has a stability of 38, handling of 41, which is really good for this archetype of weapons, reload speed 3.35 seconds, aim assist, inventory size, zoom of 13, airborne effectiveness of 16, we have that recoil direction of 78, and the bounce intensity, you know, per shot, which is a unique stat for grenade launchers. And then finally in the magazine it has 6, but of course there are perks you can get on it in order to up that to 7. And as far as this Nightfall goes, kind of managing this area, there's nothing that's quote-unquote required for this Nightfall. It is helpful to have an Invis Hunter to kind of go around between these points and start standing on them. It is helpful to have a Well of Radiance Warlock, but it is certainly not required. So team composition, I would say, is relatively flexible, especially when it comes to the boss room. You just need, you know, the boss doesn't really have that much health. You know, for this one in particular, I'm running my Hung Jury Scout Rifle for Overload Champions. I'm running the Pulse Rifle, the Pinnacle Pulse Verlice X, which is Void, and it also works on Anti-Barrier Champions, so very effective in this particular Nightfall. And then I'm running Galahorn, which that would be the #1 heavy I would suggest for you folks. Please make sure you run Galahorn in here. It is not mandatory, again, by any means. However, it's just really good, especially with the solar burn that is applied to this Nightfall. And 2 rockets will melt any champion in here. So stun the champion, 2 rockets, either from you or you and a teammate, and that champion will go down. This enemy right here, this Minotaur, proved to be a little bit of a pain for us. Took some big deeps there, big deeps. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about what you want to roll on your Wendigo. Alright, so the perk pool isn't massive, which is fantastic for farming this thing. We have a lot of good damage perks in that 4th column. So in column 1, my recommendation is smart drift control. An argument could be made for something else. Column 2, really spike grenades is my number 1 choice there. That top pick. Column 3, I'm going to shoot for, I like auto-loading holster. You could go with clown cartridge perhaps if you wanted to. Field prep, there certainly could be an argument made. Now, this thing has PvE roles that aren't just applicable to bosses. So if you have chain reaction, you know, plus explosive light or frenzy or golden tricorn, you're gonna have some sweet, you know, sweet fun. Let's just put it that way. Column 4, cascade point, which could work with something like a sniper rifle. You know, consistent precision damage, something like cloud strike, and then swap to it. I don't think that's gonna be DPS meta, but we don't know as of yet. And then really the number 1 perk would be explosive light. Picking up an orb makes the next shot increase blast radius and damage. And then you also have full court, in my opinion, which is the only other option here for kind of boss DPS. But yeah, that would be my kind of selection there on the rolls. And as for me, I'm just going to keep farming this. You know, it's good to go into Lightfall with something we know is going to be effective and strong, especially with these heavy GLs getting a buff. So they will be best in slot, at least for a little while until we grind through the campaign. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, Linda, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.